Good. Thank you, everybody, for your thoughts again. And Karl and Amit, I'm going to turn it over to you guys and step back out.
Hey, warm welcome to Karl from the ecosystem community here. As you know, we are a big community of all ecosystem professionals eager to hear from you. And what a fantastic company SAP is in the ecosystem world. So Karl needs no introduction, but I'll still do one. He is SAP's first Chief Partner Officer in the C-suite, influencing all of partnering decisions at SAP, whether it is alliances and channels, the global partner organization coming together with the global business development organization at SAP, combining under one roof. And as Jay was mentioning before, there's also an evolution to success. Just as there's customer success, there's partner success. So his organization is Partner Ecosystem Success. It's about partner success, which leads to customer success. I'll let Karl define his role in his own words and talk a little bit about your journey to becoming Chief Partner Officer. So if you can give a little bit about your journey to this point, and what is this Partner Ecosystem Success organization that you formed at SAP?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thanks for having me here, and hello, everyone. I was just listening carefully to Jay, and I mean, we think so much alike, right? I mean, I was really, I love to hear that, right? And again, I'll tell you a little bit about the story at SAP and how, where we're coming from and where we are and where we're getting to. But this is one of those kind of speeches that I would love as well to continue to pitch as well to our internal executives at SAP, right? So we're in the middle of the transformation. I think that's exactly the message that we are really getting through SAP. So as I mentioned, Karl Fahrbach, I'm the Chief Partner Officer for SAP. I've been with SAP now for over 15 years. And in my career at SAP, I've been always in partner roles, right? I started my career actually defining the Partner Edge program that we have today in the corporation, the global team. Then I moved as well to the field. I was as well managing partners myself. I was as well running sales teams in the mid-market space that actually had a very close interaction independent as well on the partner ecosystem. And then I've been as well in regional roles. And then I ended up as the Chief Operating Officer for the partner organization at the global level. And then once when we did as well some reorganizations at SAP, we saw as well the need to really transform the ecosystem, right? To really move from a kind of a very transactional ecosystem based on deals and implementations, right? Those were kind of the two views that we have from the partner ecosystem, to really looking at the ecosystem as something holistic that will as well help SAP to be successful in the future. And that's why we created as a company the Chief Partner Officer role, right? And I was appointed. I think that was back in March 2019, right, or February 2019. So, and then since then, I've been really going through the transformation. I'm happy as well to share with you later, I mean, where we are, right, and all the changes that we've been going through. And then before that, I was working as well for other companies that had as well kind of different points of view on the partnering topic and channels as well. So I think I've seen kind of companies very much focused on partnering, like Microsoft, right, where partnering is actually everywhere. And then I've been as well in other smaller companies as well, like CA at this time, where actually partnering was as well kind of not a second thought, it was a third thought. I mean, I've been kind of having different experiences. And then even within SAP, right, I mean, the story and on how we are really transforming partnering to where it is today, it has been as well a journey, right, that I'm super proud of, and I'm having fun. And again, I'm super passionate about the ecosystem. I love to be here as well in this forum today with so many people from that category, which is the ecosystem, right, and partnering. So looking forward as well to the conversation with you today.
What a nice journey, Karl. Throughout your career, you've literally built on various experiences getting up to the Chief Partner Officer role. We at WorkSpan had actually predicted this in 2016, that there will be Chief Partner Officers required. And glad to see that with you. Congratulations from all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the SAP transformation, right? You said you've been somewhere, you are in the middle of transformation, and you're getting somewhere. Maybe talk a little bit about what are your top priorities for the ecosystem as you've taken on this merged organization.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we have been in that journey, and I think internally, what it really represents is I've been as well kind of merging the partner organizations that were actually spread into the different LOBs, the different board areas. We have been consolidating them into one organization, right? And actually, the priorities are the same that we actually set in 2019, where we kind of launched a next generation partnering, the initiative to really transform the partner business for SAP. And basically, the priorities were making sure that looking at how the cloud is really transforming our business, right, and the business of the customers, right. And as Jay was saying before, it's not about selling and implementing; it's about really being there all the time with the customer, creating value, right. And if you think about the life cycle of the customer, right? I mean, before selling, when selling, and then after selling, and then until you get the renewals in place, all the activity that needs to happen there is basically making sure that we create value for our customers, right? And then we realize that SAP cannot do it alone, right? There are so many touching points, so many elements, right? Creating IP, creating value, making sure that the services are tailored, that the customers are getting really what they want when they want, right? So there is so much activity going on to really generate that value for the customer and make sure that they stay with us, right? And they can actually expand and adopt what we sell to them, that we realize as a company that we cannot do it alone, right? And that's when we started that journey of next generation partnering. And again, the priorities are the same. Again, since partners touch every aspect of the customer, right? When we look as well at ourselves at SAP, they basically as well touch all the SAP board areas, right? Partners are very important for the development organization because we cannot develop everything on our own. We need to outsource, right, to the partners that are actually better than us in developing certain products, right? So we have white spaces and we want them to participate. If you look, for example, at even demand generation, right? I mean, creating that demand that is not done in the old way, right? Look at digital channels or digital tools that are out there, right? I mean, that's where really customers and partners and the ecosystem and the vendors really connect, right? And for that, we need partners as well. And then you look at the customer lifecycle, right? And we need the partners to land at the customer, but we need them as well to help us adopt as well help them adopt what they bought. We need as well the partners to drive as well consumption. And then when they expand and renew, we need the partners there as well. So basically, partnering touches all the board areas. And this is why we have created one organization that is able to represent the entire partner business, the entire ecosystem business for the different board areas, right? And again, I think we've done as well a good job in really making it relevant for every board member at SAP, right? And partnering is really well embedded as well into the operating model, into their vision, and to the mission as well as board area. So that's a little bit of the transformation we are going through. And again, I think when we look at areas that probably we need to focus more, right? I mean, I think Jay mentioned as well this kind of alliance concept, right? I mean, we look at strategic partnerships, we look at elements like co-innovation, we look at elements of like co-investments even, right? I mean, how can we or where can we co-invest to win a market opportunity, right? Topics like sustainability. I mean, what can we do there from a partnering perspective? How can we leverage the ecosystem to drive more sustainability in the world, right? Or things like the business networks, right? I mean, where we are really focused very much. And that's not the traditional way of partnering, like Jay was mentioning before with reselling and implementation partners. That's a different type of leveraging the ecosystem to create those business networks, create content and create value as well for the customers and for the ecosystem. So a lot of things going on.
Fantastic. Like looks very comprehensive in its scope, right? Not only across, and I think you said a little bit in your words there as well, which is these partner types are also merging and changing. The channel partners are providing services. What's your experience been on that?
Absolutely. I mean, we see that every day, right? I mean, I think we tended to really kind of put those kind of etiquettes, right, or those labels to the partner types, and we call them VARs, we call them SIs, we call them GSSPs, and with different names, ISVs, right? If I look at partnering today, those lines are really blurry, right? So I see a lot of VARs that in the cloud, probably they need to be, I mean, they need to continue to be involved in the sell side, but the value will not be coming from selling to the customer. It will be actually coming from creating IP that they can sell as well to those customers, right? I think, again, since the focus is now on the customer, those lines are blurring. And I think what really counts is how do those partner types create value for the customers, right? And this is where they're really adopting different roles there or emerging it. So it's a very interesting period that we're going through.
So we laid out a very comprehensive vision. How are you actually executing on that vision as you evolve this partnering strategy? What are some initiatives that you've driven that really changes the day-to-day life for the partner?
Yeah, I mean, it starts actually with the customer, right? So we look at the customer and we say, okay, what is the role of the partner in this customer lifecycle, right? How can we leverage the partners? How can we invite the partners to the party to make sure that we together create value for our customers, right? So we started by defining as well the motion, and we call it internally PD LADES, right? Product, demand, land, adopt, consume, and expand, right? And we defined in that operating model what's the role of the partners and how they create value to the customers, right? And that's a big change because, as I mentioned before, the old vision of SAP was really looking at the partners only with two lenses, right? And from a sales side, partners were actually helping us to sell, and that's the VAR model that we still have in place, and that was super successful in on-premise. And then there was the implementation piece, right? Those partners really delivering projects, making sure that the on-premise software that we were selling was actually running and creating value. But now, again, as I mentioned before, this is changing, right? We really look more at this customer lifecycle. What are we doing? We help the partners to create, for example, quality in their projects and the services that they deliver, right? So we have created a program that is called Partner Delivery Quality Framework that actually helps the partners and enables the partners to run in quality projects, right? Which is as well key then to make sure that the software is adopted, the customer can consume it, and then later on they expand. More examples. We have, I mean, many on-premise partners as well still in our ecosystem, right? Or actually with the on-premise legacy, and they are moving now into the cloud. So we're helping them as well to do that, right? So we're helping them to really have this, change the DNA of their companies and make sure as well that they add as well a capacity in terms of not only looking at the implementation, but looking beyond, right? And now we are helping them as well to hire and create a new role, which is basically the customer engagement executives, right? So if you look at the financials, right, and how the cloud really changes the financials or the economic model of those partners, we actually decided as well that we need to change the economics, right? We need to really come up with new commercials to make sure as well that the partners can continue to be profitable, right, and to have enough margin, right, to sustain themselves and to grow. And I mean, we have been launching different programs. I think the latest one is called a Cloud Choice Flex, right, which basically rewards the partners just to make sure that they have enough cash flow as well, not only for the ACV, right, for the annual contract value, but now we have changed it to the total contract value. So it's just, I mean, a couple of examples that I can give you on how we're changing towards the cloud. And let me call out the last one, which I think is key, right? And that's where I really see where our partners need to go, right? And that's, I think, the biggest opportunity. And it's about creating IP, right? It's about partners and customers becoming as well software partners, right? And that's what we want as well to incentivize. We have come up as well with new models, right, to make sure that we can share revenue, we can help those partners as well to go to market. We're helping as well our partners to develop that IP, right, that actually can extend our solutions. They can as well innovate on our platform, on our business technology platform, and they can integrate, right? So I think that's actually what we're really driving very, very heavily, because we believe that that's going to drive growth, that is going to drive as well profitability and margin for our partners. So that whole element of partner IP is a big and important one. And for that, we have the business technology platform, which actually is the platform where we want, and the customers want as well our partners to build. So, I mean, many incentives.
Wow. So if I break your, just to summarize, if I break your PD-LACE model, like if you think of product and think of an extended ecosystem with co-innovation, the product itself being co-innovated with a set of partners, with D with his demand, kind of co-marketing with partners, building shared demand for joint products. Quickly land in the cloud with the land and expand model. Adopt, there will be partners who are helping you adopt, consume, and drive the consumption of these things, but then also expand with renewals. That's happening there.
Exactly, so that's it.
This is awesome vision.
Yeah, and even just, I mean, on the P side, right, on the product side, we want partners to co-innovate, right? But we are open as well for partners that actually have a solution that really meets our customer needs, that's actually better than us, right? Or we don't focus on that area, right? And we have our solution extension program, for example, which actually is as well supported by you and WorkSpan, which actually looks at what are the white spaces in our portfolio that we cannot cover, don't want to cover, or there is someone much better than us already in the market. And we make sure as well that we kind of partner with that company. We take as well their solutions into our price list, and then we go to market, right? So it's actually beyond just co-innovating. We're looking as well for innovation, and we want to bring that all together to our customers.
And Karl, if I'm right, you have a whole partner progression journey there. It's not just that those partners who are at the Solex level. Talk a little bit about the partner progression as they build IP.
Yes. So I mean, we got the feedback from the partners that they were in the past a little bit lost. Okay, SAP wants me to innovate, but where? What are the white spaces, right? That was not clear. And then if we want them as well to build, what is the platform to build? How can I start building, right? And then I think more importantly as well, once they have built their solution, what they're expecting as well is some support as well from SAP to go to market, right? And yes, we had solution extension, which has been as well super successful for more than 15 years. But as a program, that was basically right. And the partners were not really clear. Okay, if I start here, where's my journey, right? And that's why we created that journey for partners that develop, right? And how they can grow, right? So you can, as a partner, bring in an application, right? We can look at our white space and we say, yes, it fits well, right? We cover a white space that we have in our portfolio, but then we need to decide as well, where do we place you, right? And how do you grow from being in the marketplace, right? And then growing from the marketplace to being as well spotlighted in the marketplace, kind of one of the solutions that we spotlight for a specific use case and scenario. And then you can grow from there. And the next level is endorse apps, which is as well a program that we launched a year and a half ago, with a lot of traction as well. And that's basically an endorsement from SAP, much tighter go-to-market alignment and partnership. And we really kind of partner together. We plan together. We go to market. We look at as well at a product quality as well, and much deeper, right? So we go through a qualification process, and then kind of the last program of the chain is solution extension, right? And here we actually take the partner solution on our paper, and that's when we go to market. And I think that progression journey is giving as well now the partners kind of the perspective, right? And some guidance on where do I start? What do I need to start? How do I start building? And then how can I progress in the journey?
Fantastic. And, SAP has been with WorkSpan on a journey for a while now. You run the global GSI program on WorkSpan, the tech partner program, the apps program with Solex and Endorsed App. I wanted to ask you, how has the experience been, and what are some of the things that SAP has enjoyed that you may want to share with the community here?
Yeah, the experience has been fantastic so far, right? And I know that I have many people in my team, like Tom and Tom Roberts and Mark Wolfie as well are in the call as well here, and they are your customers, right? And I think we were talking about customers, right? And the customers is not really about the selling point or the implementation. We need really information throughout the life cycle of the customer, right? And that's where our partners are actually going in and adding value. So I think the situation changes, completely, right? And what we need now is information all the time, information real time, not only between the customer and SAP, but as well including the ecosystem, right? And I think that's what WorkSpan can provide and what we as well enjoy, right? We run our solution extension program with WorkSpan. We run as well our Endorse Apps program with WorkSpan. And we run as well our largest partnerships, the most strategic one, our global strategic service providers with you as well, right? So basically, it provides that transparency in the ecosystem. It provides as well that collaboration, because I think partnership is all about collaboration. And I think WorkSpan really covers that gaps and brings us all together, right? And that's what we see as well, where we see the value, right? It's not only on the customer, like a CRM on the customer to vendor relationship, but now I think the third one in the equation is the ecosystem, and that's what we get from WorkSpan, right? What do we do with you guys? We have, again, we're running those three major programs that I was mentioning before, and actually in many meetings that I join as well, right? We go actually real time into the system. We look at the marketing plans, we look at the pipeline generation. We have as well opportunity discussions with the partners as well, looking at your system. So I think there's a lot of use that we are actually given to WorkSpan, right? And again, we're looking as well at expanding as well, right? And as we really grow our ecosystem, as we really go through the transformation, we love the partnership.
Thank you, Karl, for the trust. And as Jay was saying, this decade of ecosystem is really based on real-time data sharing. And kudos to SAP. You figured out not only data sharing from your own CRM directly in real time with partners, but also receiving that data from partners. So doing two-sided CRM to CRM integration, that's pretty pioneering as well. Absolutely. So kudos and congratulations. Last question from my side, and then there are a lot of questions I can see on the chat already. You know, a lot of people want to grow up and be Karl and become chief partner officers. So what's your advice to emerging partner leaders who are in this journey? And I'm especially channeling what Michael Cove here asked in the community. I want to convince my leaders that this is important. How do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, right? And I think that's what we have been, I have been as well personally focused on since I took the role. And just to be honest, right? And I think probably SAP is not the only company. I think many of the companies that I've been with and ORC as well, and we have peers, they look at the ecosystem as sometimes as an afterthought, right? So there is like the business, they look at the customers, right? And then there's the ecosystem, but always like as a second thought, right? And actually, I mean, we sometimes still, when you look at the resellers, right, we still call them channel, right? And I think, I mean, that kind of mindset has to change, right? So partners are not anymore a channel tool. Partners are part of it, right? So partners are a key element of the strategy of the company, right? Especially in the cloud. And I think that's the mindset that we need to get to, right? I mean, for me, what really worked is to make sure that I really convince the company, right? Starting with the CEO and then the rest of the executive board members of SAP, that partnering is actually key for them to make their respective areas and SAP successful, right? So now every board member at SAP understands that without partners, there is no future. We really want to work with partners, changing that mentality of what can the partners can do for us to a different mindset, which is basically what can we do for the partners, right? So that is changing now at SAP. And for that, you need to create a vision. You need to create as well a strong transformation plan, right? And really get it in front of the CEO of your company and make sure that he's or she is totally convinced that they're totally behind it and they really support the plan, right? How does he say that? It doesn't stop there, right? And that's as well kind of part of the continuation of my journey at SAP as well, is to make sure that not only the board believes in that, but really able as well to change down and influence down as well and change the culture of a big company like, for example, SAP, right? More than 100,000 employees with a history of really having probably the partners has been always super relevant for SAP, but again, probably a second thought. And now we're just changing it, right? And now it's my vision is actually to make SAP a partner-led company, right? And that's what we're working on. So it will take as well some work, right? To really go down and make sure that we convince the rest of the company. But again, good vision, make sure that your vision as well shows the impact that it can have on the company, right? And how dependent the company is on the ecosystem. And then make sure that your CEO and the executive board of your company is convinced they really see the value of what the ecosystem is delivering to them. And then I think that's the right starting point to make sure that I mean you can be relevant and impactful, right? And that would be my advice for partner leaders in this call.
Oh, great advice. So be relevant, make sure you quantified your value so that you can stand and communicate that value to the leadership. Yeah. Awesome advice.
And it's not easy. And I'll tell you a funny story, right? Which is actually true. I mean, when I got the job, we had as well, it was Bill McDermott, right? He was still the CEO of SAP. And I went to a board meeting as well, right? I was invited just to the vision of the ecosystem, right? And I had the right story, right? But to your point, I mean, it was not quantified, right? I mean, the opportunity was not quantified and the impact was not there. It was not really shown in a number. And Bill told me, Karl, I mean, where is the money, right? And I think from there, I really understood that if I really wanted to change make SAP become a partner-led company, it all starts with the opportunity. It all starts with the impact, right? I mean, how big is the opportunity that we are leaving the table, or actually gaining if we do with partners, we go with partners. And I think that's what really, I mean, made me think, okay, we need to really tie not only the partners as a second, or we need to change actually the partners as a second thought, and we really put it in the very center of the SAP strategy. And that's what worked for me, right? And again, it's a journey. We are not there. A lot of things actually ahead of us, a lot of transformation ahead of us, but it's, I think we're going to the right path, right direction.
Fantastic. So there are a lot of questions, Karl. I'll bring in Chip to ask some questions from the community.
This was fantastic, Karl. Thank you. Thank you so much. What a great session and learnings. A lot of questions. So I'm actually going to start with this one from Norma Wattenpa. Hey, Norma. What behavior changes in a partner-friendly culture? How do execs approach the business differently? I think it's a great question, just especially with what you were just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned, I mean, SAP is probably coming from a very kind of direct culture, right? Direct sales culture, and again, it was a sales culture, right? Now with the cloud, it's not about sales anymore, right? Sales is just a piece of the life cycle of the customer. So changing that mentality, changing that mindset is key, and then making sure as well that they understand that partnering is going to be key for everyone in the company, and especially the salespeople as well, to make their budget, right? I think that is what we're still driving. Actually, I mean, I still, it's quarter end. I still as well get escalations that I need to jump on as well. So the transformation is not there, but it is a journey, and that's what we need to get to, right? And again, I think it's about showing the opportunity to the very top of the company, and then from there, the culture, the strategy will change. For example, I mean, if you look at the top 5 priorities of SAP, one of them is the ecosystem, right? I'm talking about our CEO. We go to customer success with Scott Russell as well, and he has like 3 main priorities. One of them is the ecosystem. So that's what you need to get to, and I think then the culture will change, right? And again, it will not be overnight. It will take a while, but you need to work hard for that.
As always, right? Top down.
Yeah.
It takes leadership from the top. So
Meru is asking, how does an ISV partner handle objections from the sales team who does not want to include, let's say, a partner in a deal? What would your advice be?
Yeah, I mean, it's not only about, I mean, they wanting to include a partner, an ISV into a partner deal or not. I think, I mean, and we see that as well every day, right? I mean, it's all about really making sure that the ISVs, I mean, really add value to the customer, right? I think that needs to be very clear. And then it's all about communication, making sure that our AEs understand what is as well the value of bringing that to the customer. Because sometimes we tend always to go kind of, okay, those are my solutions, that's kind of my portfolio. And they tend to forget as well that we have partner IP, right? So I think you need to make sure that you have a good communication. You need to make sure as well that if you look at your solution, right, don't only sell products, but sell end-to-end solutions. And those solutions should always include ISV products, right? Because it's better for the customer, it's better for and it's better for the AE, right? And it's better as well for the ISV. And then what we do as well at SAP is we make sure that we compensate as well our AEs for selling that ISV solution. So it's a combination of communication, right, compensation models, and then making sure that they don't only look at products, but they really look at the end-to-end solution. I think that's key.
Mark is asking a question. Fantastic session, Karl. First compliments to you from him. Does SAP allow for competing partners to be in a Solex relationship? Example, have one partner for enterprise customers on S/4HANA and one partner for by design. The idea is to include 2 partners in a motion, let's say.
Yeah, that's not our approach, right? I mean, not only for Solex, but actually beyond, what we always want to look at is at the partner opportunity, and what we measure is partner success, right? So we look at making sure that we select the right partner, that we have as well kind of a long-term relationship with that partner, because again, I mean, that partner will be actually, or will be selling that solution to our customers. And we want to make sure as well that we provide them as well a future, right? And so we go through a very intense process to make sure that the partner is the right one. And then once we have selected the partner, we tend to stay with that partner for the long run, right? And that applies to solution extension, but actually we go beyond, right? I mean, what kind of our mantra is from a partner organization perspective, to make the partners successful, to make sure that they are profitable. That's key.
Karl, thank you so much for sharing and a lot of really great interaction from everyone. So
yeah, no,
Thank
I
you,
love
Karl.
the conversation, and I'm going to look at this chat here and see if I can reply here. So thank you. Thanks, everyone.